This conference will now be recorded.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, you all got to put up with me today because our chairman ended up with a kidney stone during the night. So we need to wish him well. I've been through several of those and they're not fun. First order of business will be to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I can advise you that Michelle May will not be coming. She was originally scheduled at 10:30.
Okay.
We do have a raffle and we do have a Sturgis ambulance agreement, so those remain in place.
Right.
I should add that the 2023 health nurse agreement at the end of the general business has not come in yet, nor has the fair board agreement. So those will be off.
Okay.
Move to approve as amended.
Second. Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any conflicts today, Randy?
I don't have anything that I know of. Just you, Bob.
All right. We need approval of our regular meeting minutes from November 22nd. Everyone have time to review the minutes?
Now he thinks he's going to get a motion after that.
I move approval.
Second, the best minutes in the county.
All right. We have a motion and a second for approval of our minutes. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Brenda, would you give us the auditor's account with the treasurer, please?
I can. Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman. This is as of November 30th, 2022. The total amount of deposits in the banks is $70,854,478.16. Included in that balance are the money at Collier's of $5 million, the bank balance of $25,342,931.17, U.S. Bank $38,828,796.08, money market $1,682,750.91. Amount of actual cash is $1,350. Total amount of checks and drafts and treasurer's possession not exceeding 3 days is $103,063.10. And cash in transit and treasurer's possession is $7,154.99. Petty cash $1,830. for a total balance of $70,967,906.25.
Approval of auditor's account with the treasurer.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the auditor's account. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
What's your pleasure on the bills, gentlemen? Any questions?
I have one, page 11 for Grimm's Pump. It's 20224577 for $30,936. It's a highway expense. Alan, do you know what that one is?
Yeah, that's an upgrade for fuel system, both in Deadwood and in Spearfish. It's the computer, the software part of it. Control. Greg knows more about what you did there than what I do.
Is it budgeted?
Well, yeah, it's built in part of it. Did we end up paying out of the capital? Did you take it out of the equipment?
Capital assets.
Capital
Yep.
assets. The old one was, I don't know, how many years old? Not very old.
We're using very old communication that wasn't supported anymore.
I don't support for it.
Move to approve the bills as presented. Did you have any, Richard?
We have a motion and second on approval of the bills.
That was both sets.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Travel request, Ms. Brenda?
Yes.
I have no travel request. Sorry.
Okay, how about personnel?
I have a few.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, let me get these sorted. And a bunch of step raises, I would move to approve all of them, all the step raises at once, which is Toby Harley, Tib Agana, Diane Straka, Michael Magnuson, Corey Sheeler, James Burnett, Jeff Harper, and Brett Runge.
Michael Magnuson is going to be a classification change. We had to
Okay.
move him out. We'll move him.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
delete him from
Okay,
that
yeah.
motion. Move to approve those step raises.
I have one question, if I might.
I'll second it and then take your question, sir.
Okay. I was just wondering about that. This is a third step raise.
Yep.
Is that in quite a while ago?
Yeah, she's been at the, I can look and see the exact date, but she's been at the two, probably, yeah, about 2 years.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
so.
no wonder I didn't.
Yeah, it's been, you don't remember that?
I don't remember.
Okay, further questions?
I assume these were all budgeted, Mr. Chairman. Okay, thank you.
All right, all those in favor of the step raises will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the classification change for Tim Hodson and Brenda Harvey. Is that appropriate now, Bruce, or do we need to wait? Those two?
You can certainly do it now, you know, there's no discussion.
No, I would move to defer those to the executive session.
Both of these?
Yeah.
I'll second. Okay, we just have Magnuson classification fee.
We need to vote on that.
Right.
You're just gonna wait till, we'll just wait till.
Yeah, we can just do that.
Yeah.
We don't need to vote. Okay. So I'll move to approve Michael Magnuson step raise.
This is a classification change.
Oh, this is wrong.
Yeah, he's going,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
he's going to a crew foreman, being on probation at a base rate of 30.39, and that'll be effective January 1 of 2020.
There was a replacement.
Yeah, we replaced it.
Okay.
Second. Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
And then I just have a new hire, correction officer 1, grade 1, base pay of 2022, full-time, permanent, effective 12/13 of 2022. This is Krista. Help me out, Sheriff.
Krista.
Krista K. Kuritas.
Commissioner,
How much training do you anticipate? Typical training? Okay. Move to approve as presented.
I have a motion and a second for approval. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll speak
Automatic
louder.
supplement.
Okay,
I'm waiting for Bob.
This here is the annual, back in the middle, I'm not sure, in August, you approved the JJRI team court and signed it, and we have gotten payment for it, and you had authorized that the money that was received would go to teen court, and this is just supplemented it into the teen court budget so we can pay, she'll submit a voucher at the next meeting for payment of $9,626.88.
With approval of the automatic supplement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, we got
There,
one.
we got him. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning. Sorry about that.
Now it's my fault.
Okay, ordinance during the Mathis Homeowners Road District Incorporated and subject to a vote for February 10th, 2023.
We need anything on that?
Just a motion to
Okay,
allow us to set the.
I live in
election.
that district, so I'll be abstaining.
I can't make the motion.
I'll do it, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I thought this was pretty elaborate. There's that much going on in that last district.
No, this is the Mathis homeowners.
This is one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got the.
Yep, you
wrong
got the
one.
wrong one. This is,
Okay, I'll move approval.
It's that, this is the regular Mathis, right?
yep,
Okay, I'll second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Abstain.
Okay. Order amending Wasp Road District boundary.
okay, this is an order amending this as, if you remember, Homestake presented a letter as their ag, and so part of SDCL, they are allowed to be excluded from the district once it is formed, and they have presented that documentation, and now we are just asking to amend those boundaries to reflect that commission of that property.
Okay, Mr. Diamond.
So we're just updating the map to remove the ag per the statute and the application.
Correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Flint, did you have some discussion?
Let me look here. How many acres?
And it was just over the top of these other mining claims. The all mining claims, with the ag and non-ag.
It doesn't, the acres don't show, but this is the
Oh.
legal description in the charter of the letter that we received.
Okay, thank you. I'll second the motion.
It's got Brandon seconded it.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
We lost Brandon. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
Oh, raffles?
So we received a raffle from the Naja Shriners. The drawing will take place at the Nemo 500 Outhouse Races on February 25th of 2023.
Okay, we just,
Move to not object to the raffle. Shriners?
how much was that? The raffle deal? I didn't see it on there.
Well, it doesn't really say what they're going to.
Oh, I thought we had it all vote.
Second.
I don't know how much the tickets are, but it's the Nemo House races. Tickets will be on sale from January 23rd to February 23rd, 2023. Drawing will be held there at Nemo. It's the Naja group.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Yeah, I don't think it says enough. course, usually we're voting on a gun, or some money or something, but that doesn't say anything here.
I think it's just cash. Proceeds go to the Nasha Transportation Fund. So I think they use that to fund, isn't it, kids to travel?
Children and
Yeah.
burn centers.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
It's a good organization. Okay. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is Brendan here?
Can you hear us, Brandon?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's just easier with the delay if I don't answer and just assume it's a yes vote unless I say no.
Okay.
Nod your head.
Stick your thumb out there. There, crowd appeal. The crowd loves it.
Okay, abatements. Mr. Tim?
Have trials.
Deb? Sorry. Good morning.
Hey, guys. I think you got the original, don't you?
I do.
Okay, yeah. I have one for the Berkeys. We had airport hangar over in Spearfish, and when the county redid the runways and all that stuff way back then, their hangar was moved, and they got another one, and we charged them twice this year. One for the old one and one for the new one. So we need to do an abatement, and the first half, they did pay the first half, so we will have to do a refund on the first half. The amount that needs to be refunded is $191.66. The total value to be abated off is $21,255. And I looked, and for next year it is corrected. They won't be charged next year.
Okay.
Move approval.
Second.
Request.
Like your new glasses too.
Thank
A
you.
motion and a second for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Brendan.
The other finger, Brandon.
You're number one, Commissioner Dybert.
And just for an update, our sweep account at Wells Fargo is working very, very well. For the month of November, we made $44,000.
Wow.
And I think we are going to make more than that in December because it looks like the interest rates are going up more. We were just at 3% when we got that, and it looks like it's supposed to go up to possibly 3.9 or something. So Brenda and I have talked, and whenever we get any excess money that we can hold off on, we will be putting it over to Wells Fargo because we're making really good money over there right now.
Oh, good.
So
Thanks for your steering stuff around for us.
That's good.
hey, we can. That's the place to be right now. They got the best money, and it's to get it right back. All we got to do is write a check to get it back out, so it's not tied up. So
You can do it on a daily basis.
I'm sorry, what?
You can do it on a daily basis.
Well,
Maybe Brendan,
As long as they use someone.
I keep in any
Not yet.
excess money
We're
that
just waiting.
you guys don't need right away over there. And then our daily stuff, I'm keeping over at first. We do have a sweep account there, but it's not making as much because it's not a government. It's a government, making more money, but we
Right.
still are making some at First Interstate. But like if we get a big check in or when tax time comes, I'll go dump some in over there for a couple months or whatever, just to get whatever we can, and then pull some back out to keep for our daily funds.
Yeah, the minimum amount that you have to have in there all the time.
Over at
At,
Wells Fargo. I think I needed to have a couple things over there, but I'm running with 15 million over there right now. Anything excess that I visit with Brendan, anything excess that we don't need to keep, that we have coming, I'll stick over there to make as much money as we can, and then pull it back over if we need it. But right now, I think we can keep 15 million over there for, would we figure at least 6 months, Brenda, before we'd have to do it, that we might have to pull them out, or pull some of it out, but we're gonna try to keep it over there as long as we can.
Okay.
Hopefully not, hopefully longer.
Bruce, do we have an ambulance agreement?
You do.
We have another abatement.
Yep, one more.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Oh,
Just one fast and dirty one for Jan, Gentry. We caught an error in the square footage of their house, and we're just correcting it and making it correct for them.
Okay.
In a nutshell, that's what's going on.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of this abatement. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thumb up.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Tim.
Now we'll do the external ambulance training.
As presented, I do note that, that probably next year, they're gonna want some more money, but willing to abide by the agreement for now.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
One question, if I might.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay that $1,200 and some dollars a month, or do you just pay it when you use it?
1 year.
One time,
1 year.
It's a yearly
One time.
allocation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and it hasn't gone up for what, probably 4 years, 5 years? And so again, they're gonna probably expect an increase for next year. We'll talk about that in the budget.
Move approval. Okay,
Second.
a motion and a second for approval. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Again,
Newton County Health Agreement, you don't have that yet?
no, not yet. And no fair board agreement yet either.
Okay,
Pending.
Sheriff Dean, it looks like you have the floor.
Morning. We received hard hats from Elevatus for our Board of Commissioners, so I have delivered those, and feel free to do with them as you please. In terms of our construction project, the groundwork is awful close to about 90% complete. They have footings and footing walls poured in right at 2/3 of the total structure, and most of that has been backfilled. They were able to get that done on the lion's share of it before the weather hit. So where we go from here is entirely dependent upon the weather. They've got a lot of utilities in one degree or another installed. There's been a lot of plumbing work up there, and the project I think is going on very well. Outside of that is in terms of an update with today's weather conditions. DOT has already issued a no travel advisory from exit 44 I-90 all the way to the Wyoming line, as well as all roads in the Northern Hills area around Deadwood and Lee. That's what I have, commissioners. You have something for me?
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Well, that was easy. Commissioner Davis.
On the update on the safety center construction, there's 3 items that request for information that are dated the 31st of October. Are you concerned that they haven't been responded to yet?
Can you tell me what those 3 items are?
It's one of them is precast hollow core plank. Another one's the same one with calculations, and the other one's a roofing. So the roofing one doesn't bother me.
The plank one I'm not familiar with directly, so I can't speak to that. I haven't heard anything from our site superintendent that would indicate they're overly concerned about it. They're still waiting. They're still waiting for some of the Elevatus's work to be completed in regards to the fire retardant stuff, and I think that's where the roof issue is coming from.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ryan, have some of these things there on the sheet that they got there, some of them are moved over here, and they had a change order in those. This is a change to the original plan when you get over here. The only changes, other than the fire retardant issue, and there's a number of things that came up as a result of that. The only other, and I don't think it would qualify as a change order, but there's a mound of material that's immediately behind their construction trailer, and they're going to take 6 feet off the top of that. That's the only change order. Now, like I said, I'm not sure that would qualify as a change order. It's just an agreement anyway. Yeah.
I think these, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think these are when they put a shop drawing in and it's approved and they're asking for a revision, and there's a revision, so they're just tracking those shop drawings for approval. I don't see any change orders in those, but
I didn't think it changed.
No.
It looked like it could have.
yeah. So I looked at the summary and it didn't show any.
Tim, our team actually does a real good job of tracking a lot of that stuff with us, and we will endeavor to inform the board of any significant change orders as we go. Our committee continues to meet. In fact, our next meeting is scheduled for tomorrow. Hopefully we have opportunity to do that as we start to really scrutinize the soft costs, and working with Greg in particular and Brenda, we're coming up with a dashboard that enables us to know exactly, and the board to know exactly where we are with soft costs at any given time. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Diver.
Well, I think the change orders, we need to know the deducts as well as the increases.
Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. We're ready for our highway superintendent.
Public hearing, 8:25.
Okay, we're gonna do our public hearing while you sit there and relax, Alan. 10-4.
All right.
Alcohol license transfer?
Yes, they have 2 transfers and then 1 new wine license. These are all for the Merck Pizza and Pub LLC. It is a transfer from Larry Kaiser, who used to be the Nemo Mercantile. He has sold his property to Adam Rice. And so this is just transferring all the licenses that Larry had prior. And then, of course, Adam would like to also purchase the on-off sale wine and cider license. So that is what we have before us.
Okay, it is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your whether you're for or against it. Do we have any? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and offer it to the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Randy.
do we have any complaints from the sheriff on this property?
No.
Move to approve the transfers. Are they both transferred?
There's 2 transfers and then 1 new wine.
And 1 new.
Yep.
Okay. As presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Now, Alan, it's a little early, but you can go ahead. You may proceed.
Just don't do your bid opening.
Well, we can't open the bids until 8:30, so let's tackle some of this other. Got a driveway permit submitted by Todd Fierro. I believe it was included in your packet. This is off St. Ange Road, right north of Larry's place there. Visibility is good. It will require a culvert, but I need to point out that this driveway is probably roughly, I measured it, is probably about 200 foot away from the existing driveway. So that was a concern at the last meeting about issuing driveways so close together, but when you're building a new house out there alongside your neighbor, you need access into your place, whether it's 100 foot away from the existing driveway or a half a mile, I guess. It is what it is.
Yeah, the only thing we can do different is on the platting stage, make them plat on lot lines where their driveways would be, but it's not on this one.
Okay, what's your pleasure on it?
I would recommend approval. It's going to take an 18-inch culvert to put in here 40 foot long.
Okay.
The project.
I'll second it. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Did we lose Brandon again?
No,
I think it's just hitting.
Okay.
I'm just putting up what you're talking about.
Okay, Alan, we still have a little bit of time here.
Second driveway, submitted from Jason Holman. This is off of the Acorn Ridge Road. I believe it was in the packet. Gentleman is going to be building a new house back in on this property, the east side of the St. Ange Road. The site distance is excellent both directions. It will require a culvert. The ditch there is rather deep, so the fill is going to be a little bit more, but so I put in a 50-foot culvert with sloped in sections there. It is right across from an existing approach on the west side of the road. I would recommend approval of this one as well. Commissioner Nyberg.
Is this outside the city limits, this one?
Yes.
Move to follow the recommendation of the highway superintendent and approve the permit.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Got any more, Alan?
Have an application for a ridge improvement grant. I believe it was in your packet. This is for the bridge on Christensen Drive. And later on today, this morning, on the critical findings report, you'll hear about the severe deteriorating condition of the Christensen Drive Bridge. The weight limit had to be lowered down to, it is now at the lowest it can be before it's closed. 3 tons. Okay, Commissioner David?
I'd like to move this to the bridge inspection discussion when Jason is here and we can talk about the point system a little more for our match funds.
Well, I don't know if Jason's going to be here. They're going to do the meeting by Zoom, the critical findings report, right?
That'd be fine. I'd still like it there because we could talk about our strategy on the match funds.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Alan?
All right, well, it's 8:30. It's time and place for a bid opening for the Lino project. Paving project.
Yeah. Hey, we have some. Look at her go.
You're welcome.
Do we have a sheet in there?
Yes, it's right
Oh.
I believe John passed out
Yeah, I gave them all.
big tabs. And
Yep,
it's right on the dot.
Yep.
Okay. This is for the paving project, phase 1 of the paving project on the Nemo Road, starting at the Meade County line, coming northwards. Nemo, 3.85 miles long. 3.8? 3.85, I believe, is the length of it. Okay. This is for a mill. We'll be doing 1.5 inch mill or 2-inch mill.
1.5 inches.
And then we're putting 4 inches of new pavement over. Okay, so it's a high tonnage project. Our first bidder is Sackerson Paving from Whitewood, and has the bid bond. And it acknowledges there was one addendum number 1. It acknowledges addendum number 1. Their bid reads $2,033,275.25.
2033.
275.25. Our second bidder, Western Construction, Rapid City. Bid is accompanied by bid bond. And they acknowledge addendum number 1. And their bid reads 1,401,645.95. 1,401,645.95. And our third bidder is Simon. They acknowledge addendum number 1. And they have the bid bond is accompanied by the bid bond. Their bid reads 1,460,685.20. 1,460,685.20.
So just those 3, Alan?
Just these 3.
You need time to review them before
We normally would like to go through them and make sure there's no
Okay. Sounds good.
And I guess with this, pushing that back to later. We took care of the person on the step increases. What else have we got?
Skirmish discussion on
Draft resolution. We're closing the interstate at 9.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I just talked to Sheriff and Brandon that texted me as well.
There's no travel in all cities right now.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to continue the discussion on the roads to our next meeting. Some other information will be forthcoming.
Okay.
Jurisdictions.
So move second. Tyler,
We don't have to move. It was just a discussion item, so I just was requesting it. Do you want a motion to that effect?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Second. This was the discussion with the city of Spearfish.
Yep,
Or about
yep,
the city of Spearfish.
motion, second, further discussion. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I know that you're trying to move things along here today, but we did have a meeting last week with the Forest Service. Don and I attended on Thursday with the Forest Service and 3 individuals from the Aspen Hills and the Timbers developments concerning the Tinton Road. So it was a good discussion or a good meeting, short meeting, but I don't know. The next meeting will probably have to maybe ask the commissioner to attend. I think that would be good to hear what we're talking about.
Maybe a couple commissioners.
So 1 or 2, yeah. No further meeting has been scheduled at this time.
Okay.
One of the landowners is quite anxious to give you an update from their perspective, so I think he's going to come in on January 3rd and tell you what he has learned from being as part of Food.
Okay. I'd like to be part of that Forest Service.
Yeah,
Mr.
I would
Chairman.
too as well.
Alan, does the Forest Service bring any money to the table?
No, the Forest Service does not bring money to the table. The Forest Service says if we take over the road, then we can apply for these FERDA or a FLAP or grant and possibly get some funding through that avenue, you know, a few years down the road. The people up there right now are more concerned about the immediate future, they're not so much interested in talking about making changes to the road or improving the road 2 or 3 years down the road. They're really pushing to get something in place for this upcoming year, in all honesty. So that's kind of where we're at.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question. Is there a deadline on this grant?
Yes, January, it has to be mailed in, it's on the top.
January 2nd.
January 2nd. So the score of that, well, you want to talk about that later.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the bridge inspection report from Bros and this grant application to our next meeting on the 27th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So you won't be discussing, okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get us moving here.
We
with
understand.
what we can do.
Another way it is, yeah, we need to get, all right. We're probably, tonight, it looks like we're probably gonna have to put some of our snowplow operators up in the motel here in town tonight to make sure that, because if they go home tonight, if they can get home tonight, they're probably not gonna be able to get back to town for a few days.
They can join the commissioners.
And
Not all of them.
All right.
And I
call it search and rescue.
appreciate, I want to congratulate your guys on, you made one good decision this year. If you made one good decision this year, you hired the right man, okay? I think.
Well, we think so.
Thank you.
Do we want to report on the trees?
You want to discuss
Did
trees?
the gentleman come today?
Is he here? Okay.
About
All right.
trees?
Okay.
Do I need to stand, get a microphone, anything like that?
Just stand,
Yeah,
name and
state your
address.
name for
Chris
that.
Huntercook, live up in Nevada Gulch. The question or the little story pertains to land out on Englewood Road, my parents' land. And it's not a big deal, I think it's just a way to capture something to learn from that maybe change things or how things get done in the future. Start off by saying I think the maintenance and the work that gets done on Englewood Road, because we have property out there, well, last road. I've lived out there most of my life, and the work that gets done, the plowing, the drainage, all that stuff is just tremendous. It's an awesome, great. There's an influx of new people. We get that, new owners and stuff like that. The question is, the question comes from what happened last week with some of the right-of-way clearing work and tree removal, and I get that the road is chock full of trees that are close to the road, dead, dying spruce, all that kind of stuff. But I happened to go all last week and just noticed Englewood Road, Ruby Flats Road goes up to the last Thursday, where my dad's trees that were taken out. A couple more further down the road, a tree and a shrub that was Cronin. There's some folks from Peter that have property there that come down, and it was removed. So I just made the assumption. I saw the stuff that was cut, and immediately you start to get away because neighbors have been doing different things out there, and there's a few small neighbor wars that are going on, and you guys don't need to be worried about that. But so I had a little bit of a concern, but I figured it looks like right-of-way clearing because it was done by the hydro plant was done on Lee Dudley Sanitary District land. It was done on BLM, so I just figured it was the road clearing, but on a Friday afternoon. So it just, and I let my parents know because they're fairly tunnel vision clueless on things that go on out there. But it was his land, it was his trees, and there's some value to that. So I did yesterday morning, just call just to ask, one, to answer the question, and yes, it was county right-of-way clearing, and I understand that. I won't question the rhyme or reason to what trees are selected and what aren't, but there were quite a few trees that were down. Big picture, if that happens on his land, that saves me from having to drop trees because there's several there I've taken out. If trees are dead and dying, I'll remove them, take them for firewood. You can give them to Dad for firewood or use them for other purposes. But I called yesterday just as a concerned citizen, stated what I'd seen, and just asked the questions I wanted to find out. Never did get a return call. So from that point, my story kind of ends. But I did some follow-up work. Looked around. The concern was when I drive over these lots to go up to our property, I see what I can assume, because I didn't want to trespass to go look at them, but it looks like the bulk of the spruce trees from that project area had been moved up to another individual's private land and staged in his firewood bed. So that's where my concern started to grow when I contacted the neighbors just to let them know what happened with their tree. Unfortunately, that neighbor, who you probably have heard from, really doesn't agree with the neighbor who got the firewood, and it just started cascading from there. So my question was, when the right-of-way clearing happens, is there a policy in place to at least just talk to the private landowner, just to let them know that they're, because it's sanctioned activity, and I get that, right-of-way clearing, safety, blah, 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 but I just think that probably it might be a good idea to contact the private landowner on private property, because I'm assuming that's still property. The county doesn't own the trees in the right-of-way, or do they?
Well, if they're in the right of way and we deem them to be a hazard, we normally will remove them. We do not ever contact the landowner. At least that's how we've been doing it.
And then part of the beef is then when of course the trees have value, because if they're solid spruce, which they are, I could take them and process them and get rough cut lumber, which has value. Again, we burn firewood, parents burn firewood. That's value to us. We do try to manage the trees when we can. Obviously, Dad doesn't so we try to get around. But then when the tree, and I understand that they used to just lay stuff, or the stuff gets hauled to the dump. So anytime you can leave product, you don't have to haul that to the dump. I get that it saves time, saves manpower, saves diesel fuel and that kind of stuff. But then when the county equipment that runs up a private road and gives property for one landowner that was removed, and puts that property on another landowner because he said he'll just take the firewood and it's easy and convenient. That's where the beef is. And I really just think it's probably a good idea in the future because we try to keep the peace and be calm. We've been here forever. We've seen a lot of newer people come in. And when it comes to land ownership and land access, I've seen more shitstorms start in the last 3 years than ever before. And I just think it's probably a good idea just to give them a heads up. I mean, a phone call is tremendous. I've come from 33 fire seasons of working for the federal government. A good chunk of that is in eastern Wyoming, and that's a whole different world over there. I can tell you that as a precursor to any project or any federal or local county government movement, just a phone call to get people in the loop, whether they're third generation owners or if they're brand spanking new owners from either coast. I really think probably in the future it's good to call. Because this whole thing has started, and it will continue to start, just issues out there between the neighbors. And that's not your concern. It's not a big deal. I won't bring that forward. But because I can go find more trees, it's not a big deal to cut firewood. But that it's just a bad situation, and it really just made matters worse. It's just a suggestion. It's good to know. And I get that they have to do clearing. That's fine. And I see that there's a bunch of stuff that's down the hydro plant and the BLM. If they're fine with it, I'll take it as firewood. I'll go do the work. But when property is removed from my parents' land and given to another landowner, that's where it gets a little stupid. So if he would have been in the loop, he could have said, I don't care, get the stuff out of here, you guys take it. Obviously, it takes the burden off of my parents that can't do that work. But in that case, we would use the wood. You take the wood as firewood. If the county puts that on the ground and says, hey, take all this shit, it's one hazard removed from me. I don't have to assess it. I don't have to drop it. I just cut it, take this wood. The problem is that there is value to that, whether I have it made into lumber or if I sell it as firewood or use it personally as firewood. So, that's just, again, it's not a huge issue.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt, but I think you have some valid points. I think communication is key. I think if we were going to remove one tree because it's a hazard that day, that's a little different than if we're going to do some work, significant work like we did up at Summit Road. So there's a couple ways we could accomplish that. We could call the people, or we could post it in the paper that that's going to happen a couple weeks ahead of time. something like that. I think it's gonna get more concerns rather than less because of all the people that are moving here and all the land we're developing. So I think we seriously need to look at how we can just be a good neighbor and make contact with them and say, hey, we're clearing trees in here. So I think it'll save us a lot of headaches. Now, like I say, if it's one that has to be moved that day, or a couple small, excuse me, I have the floor. A couple small trees or something like that would be fine. But if we should get into some big stuff, I think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Okay, Alan?
Well, unfortunately, the people that are out there cutting the trees, they don't, you know, they're told to go drive around and look to see problem trees. They don't even know who the landowners are. They don't know which trees until they see one that's leaning or looks like it's going to be a hazard, or one that's too close to the road. So those guys that are out there in the field, they don't have a clue as to who the landowner is. You know, we drop a tree and we're glad that we're just happy when somebody comes along and says, you know, we'll take that wood away for you if you want. So it's kind of the first come, first serve is what we've been doing in the past, right or wrong, but it saves the county some money by doing that. In this instance, another gentleman comes along on the scene and grabbed the wood out of there before the actual landowner had a shot at it. So yeah, I can see your point.
Well, I think we have some we'll definitely address this and have further discussion on it. We appreciate you coming in and letting us know, and we'll see if we can do something to cure the problem.
Well, technically, and he didn't grab them, but it was hauled to his land. And secondly, when everyone has a smartphone and you can access Lawrence County GIS, I'll just throw out that and that's not super accurate, it's not geo-referenced exact, but you get a pretty good idea. You can figure out any landowner that's out there at the time.
Okay.
If they have the Onyx program, which many workers do.
We will discuss it further amongst ourselves, so thank you. Anything further, Alan?
I don't have anything.
Till 11?
Well, I guess
we moved 11 to next meeting.
Okay.
So we need to get a hold of Rose and let them know that it's off.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
And
All right.
bring back the bids.
Yeah, we're going to review the bids and bring them back.
Thanks, Alan.
Yep.
Alan, do you
normally do that at a certain time?
Well,
Maybe just put a notice in the paper.
Yeah.
Be removing trees in right away.
down
Across
on,
the county.
down on 231, we did send out a letter.
That's what major.
But that was a lot of trees. And this deal was 5 trees.
I get it.
We didn't think it was that big of a deal, but obviously it is.
How you doing?
Good. You?
Fix that.
Yeah. Well, check. Numbers are good. Yep. Okay. 4 trees. That first bid kind of had me a little worried.
I figured it did. I know Sackerson.
2 million.
I know Sackerson well enough. I wasn't that worried.
My God, man.
I'd have to say that it did creep in a little bit.
But the other 2 guys were really close. My estimate was 1.5 some billion. So these are both under that. And yours is
I guess in that they
6.
take it to their responsibility.
Yeah, after that first one.
Oh no, here we go.
So
I'm with we can special say we make a motion, but if we do,
I don't.
When we did
It's
that
like the only
231, we sent
chance
everybody a
for
letter.
some reason. Fuel prices, which means asphalt.
We don't know what
prices small.
What tree could cause it
I
from?
was at like the 1 tree before I started readjusting. So I think you've got 2 good bids.
Well, that's good.
That's good. With that, I'm gonna plan.
You're gonna plan moves before you, the roads are all closed.
Only the interstate, I can sit on the back roads.
Stay out and back those county roads.
Sounds like we can't even get out of town.
Close the roads, they're going in and out of town. Maitland Road's still open.
As long as I can get home, that's all that matters.
That's
John,
all.
you remember that, right? As long
What's
as
that?
I can use Maitland, that's all that matters.
I guess. We'll see what we can do.
Remember who signs that?
As long as I can get down Maitland, I can get to Spirit. Yeah. And then.
Yeah.
hopefully The city's still closed down.
I was telling Randy there was
Oh,
a
you should
4-hour
read my
deal
eyes.
yesterday. Alright, I said that was a
Okay,
4-hour deal
I sent you
yesterday.
a different link, I guess they changed it, but we are gonna get started early. So I was
So
gonna
he's
give you a
gonna
little bit
send
of
me
warning if you
the
want
but
to
I
call
didn't
in or
do
get
it.
online.
He said,
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
the neighbors, like, yeah,
Yeah, I forwarded it to you
Don't cut
from
my trees.
Bruce Outcut, yeah, and Elaine. Yep.
They're in the right of way.
Okay,
They're in the
thank
right
you.
of way. They can
Okay.
go on their own.
I would not be
Okay, Adam is
that on my business.
That's
What they did to my was mowing up like this. Trees or something.
good. But I sent him it, like, said it's like, Jake was wrong.
Because I got
Yeah.
pretty good.
bids over.
Actually,
Sweet along, you know.
wasn't
I just, I didn't.
What'd
know
I
how
do
to
wrong,
take
Brittany?
it.
You keep giving me that evil look.
Brittany, are you Brittany now?
No, I said Brittany.
You have done nothing wrong.
Sure.
Absolutely nothing.
I'm
Thank
trying to
you.
get my wife to head on because they're starting to close these roads.
Thank you for doing a great job.
That's right. Yeah.
See you later.
I sent Jesse home.
I hopefully Debbie left.
Hmm?
She's out of town. I'm sure she did. I told her don't wait.
I'm just curious, Mr. Chairman. Is there anything else we can move? Get people home,
We've got these public hearings,
but they're scheduled at times.
10, 10:15, and that's it. So we have 9:45, 10, and 10:15. Other than that, we're done. We can just.
We just need to be patient, Commissioner.
Well, I'm just trying to.
I would say
There's
if
Adam.
you are planning on closing, tell the department heads to send their employees home. I already sent mine home.
Do what?
I sent have employees get home. They don't need to sit here. Have one person in the office.
It's just a typical winter day.
That isn't bad out on the road.
We'll be driving home Maitland, but that's typical.
Yeah.
If we get the lead.
Slow it down. on the-
I hate that one. Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the bids have been checked and they're all good numbers. I would recommend awarding the bid to the low bidder of
Western.
Construction.
All right. We can,
If you can do that,
we can come back into session here real quick for a minute here and
I'll make copies.
When we
call us back to order. And highway superintendent said they have looked through the bids and his recommendation is to award it to Western Construction out of Rapid City for $1,401,645.95.
I'll make the motion to do that.
Okay, I'll second it. Further discussion. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
In light of the interstate closing at 9, do you want to consider sending the employees home at 9 or have them wait? Because the interstate is currently closing at 9 for sure.
From where is it?
I'll have to share these up there.
I think it's from 44 to the Wyoming.
Otherwise, they can't get home.
I think it's 44 to the Wyoming line. Isn't that what you had heard last time?
the last what we had heard was no travel advised from 44 to I-90.
Sure,
Or
sure.
from I-90, 44, I-90 to Wyoming. And then no travel advised up here. I'll be here. Paul went to spearfish. I don't know if he'll make it back. Paul will always make it back.
I thought that we couldn't leave town was the last message.
Yeah, but that's Paul, you know.
I see.
Well, let's see
It's
what
on
Bruce
your
says
own
there and then we'll
accord.
make a decision.
Yeah, it is no travel advised, so, but
Take that with a grain of salt.
Well, I think if they close it at 9, we should get the employees home.
the
If
ones
they
that
can't,
can
if they're
leave.
closed, if they're truly closed.
I do know that the dispatcher that it's on, she's set to
Service road.
stay.
Service road.
She brought her here to stay overnight.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
I can take
Well,
Maitland.
it's good planning on their part.
Well, that's why I said at least, I mean, I can stay, I'm here. It's not a big deal.
I think
Jeff's
the people
here.
And I
there,
can too.
yeah.
Randy's got, if he has to come get me in
Yeah.
a plow truck,
At
he
least
can.
get the regular
Yep.
employees home
And I can walk up the
So
hill.
we closing the building down then, or?
Well, I would think so. but
Well, I mean, I
that's
guess
not, it's
there's
your
probably
call.
not much they can do in the treasurer's office anyway, because the
State
state's
stuff,
shut down.
right? And the registered deeds
The
can't
courts
do
are
certain
closed.
things.
Okay.
Bruce usually sends out the call for employees to leave. I say usually send out a call.
Yeah.
Employees to leave if you. That's your
Mr. Chairman, if I may, send the
Yes.
hourly employees home and let the department heads stay at their discretion.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Sheriff is checking on the points, but it is closed, yeah.
Okay.
Let's
we'll,
do that. Hourly goes home and,
Yep.
and department heads at their discretion.
Fair enough, thank you.
Okay. Immediately?
Yep. 9 o'clock.
1 minute.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay. All right.
All right, Adam asked if he could call in, and so he is online.
Okay.
Instead of making him drive in from New
Okay.
I figured that was fair. Get over there. Adam, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can, thank you. Do you wanna do, is that
Camera.
where we're at, are we on that public hearing?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So well,
That's free.
we're 1 minute away, are we okay? Before the public
We
hearing?
are.
Okay. Today's a public hearing, and you guys actually saw this earlier. This is Adam Rice. He is on the call here. I talked to him this morning. He's out in Nemo, so I told him not to come in. But I think you guys already transferred the licenses, right? Everything. So Adam, those all got approved a little bit ago. This is kind of the second phase to that. Adam has purchased the Nemo Mercantile, and he would like to basically use the existing convenience store, but add in a pizza restaurant in the back part of the building and then do an extension. And as we were going through that process, there was some things that I had requested of him because it is highway service commercial, so it's already zoned commercial. The commercial is right, but he does need to do some updates to the building. Worked on getting the licenses and everything transferred, which that happened this morning. And then we talked about the septic system, the driveways, parking, all of those things kind of came about. And so he did have, Helene Eddy did the original design, and he had her look at that, and it sounds like he'll have to do some renovations to kind of upgrade stuff, but that's okay. He knows that, and he's aware of that. And then there will have to be, I guess this will kind of go into that new process, as since this is a commercial building and they have to do some changes to the building. We will, as we go through the building permit process, we will have Tom Paisley maybe help us with it a little bit under that new contract that we did for a commercial building. But the development plan was put together. You guys received copies of that. I don't know, Adam, do you have anything else to add? That's kind of the summary, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I guess what I'd like to say is that we're not adding to the building, or we're just using the existing space to put a pizza element in there. And then, like she said, we have to, for the added use, we have to extend the sewer, the drain field, which we've already pulled the permit, and that's already, we're gonna get going on that when the weather lets us. And then we'll be adding a commercial kitchen inside the building. And I have talked to Tom Paisley, and he's outlined, and given me all the stuff that I need to do to meet state qualifications and requirements. So,
Okay.
so yeah, we just wanted to, with that out there, there's nothing open through the winter, and with this building, I thought we could have a pizza place that could stay open all year round for the locals. So that's kind of our goal and what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the body of the audience that would like to speak for or against this, please stand, state your name, address for the record. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and offer it to the board. Commissioner Diver.
So where's the detailed dimensions? Is this it? That's the detailed dimension drawing?
For right now, yeah. What
So we
else do
don't
you
know
need?
where the property lines are? And our parking spots 9 through 16 backing out into somebody's driveway?
No, that's a shared easement, and they've given them permission to do it. That's how it is now, so nothing has really changed, I guess.
And then are these three gravel pads? Are these three
Oh, go ahead.
gravel pads with the amperage, are they permitted already?
No, he's looking at those for, I guess all of that was included in his write-up, but he's looking at those for employees. And that's basically kind of like what we did with Nemo Guest Ranch across the way. We allowed those, I think we did 4 of them.
Okay. Is there, what's the water source?
Adam, do you want to explain the water there? It's its own well, I believe, but.
Yes, it's its own well, a shared well with Bruce and Tracy. We will be putting in, I'm sure the state's going to require us to put in a water treatment system going into the building, since it will be, we'll be serving the public. So I would assume that would be a charge.
Water supply adequate for fire protection for the kitchen?
I guess I'm not sure.
That's part of the review process. We wouldn't do that now. Because they're going to have to provide what it is for the commercial kitchen building permit.
Well, and there'll be a full fire suppression system for the kitchen, but there is enough water coming into the building as far as, toilets, sinks, and all of that. But yes, there'll be a fire suppression system under the hood.
And then Amber, the new sewer system will handle the 3 pads plus the grease trap.
Well, there's already a sewer there, and that's what they have to go through the process. It's not approved yet because it's
So
all part
he's
of the
extending
building
the
permit.
drain field.
He's gonna have to extend it.
What we approve today will be contingent on all of those regulations being
You guys
followed.
would never look at any of those. That's just my permitting process for building permits. All you're approving is that, are you comfortable with them making an addition to this? The parking's already there. Nothing's new. The structure's there. They're just changing the use of it. Except for the 3 pads.
Commissioner Slate.
Randy's got a good point there. If they got a small pipe coming in of water for what they use now, is that pipe going to be adequate for water if they have a fire?
But you guys have never, I do that all the time. You guys have never had any comment on that kind of stuff because that's what we do as part of the process.
Yeah.
So I can't answer any of that because we haven't issued a permit on it yet.
Further discussion.
Yeah, and I don't know what water lines going in there, but we can, I can look into that and figure it out. When he built it 13 years ago, or in 2013, he was building it, planning to do similar to what we're gonna do, but he just decided to just leave it as a convenience store because he didn't want to deal with employees and all of that. So it's set up and ready to go for a cafe type thing is what they were originally going to do, I believe. So
Further discussion.
Because you can make conditions on a development plan, but he needs to know what kind of questions, because I guess those are questions that all he's doing is changing the use. This was already approved. It has a commercial drain field and stuff in it for that type of stuff, but he needs to make some additions, I guess.
Kind of planned that on when they built it. More questions, Commissioner Diver?
Well, I'm just concerned. I'm trying to think how to do this. I don't object to this, but we're basically giving him a blank canvas, and we've got septic concerns, and we've got.
He has to follow all the rules once we get past this point. So.
Well, in the septic concerns, I've submitted the additional use to Helena Eddy, and she drew up a new plan, and it's required to add an additional 94 linear feet of leach field. The tank that is in there is plenty big, from what I understand. It's a 2,500 gallon tank. So I think I mean, that'll be all tested, and, perk test and everything will be done before we open it. So
One last question, Amber. The septic permit would come first, then the building permit?
Yeah, they've already done all of that.
Okay.
So, and that's what he's saying. So the packet that you guys have, it tells you all of that information in here.
I was trying to read through it. I didn't.
Yeah, and it also has the information from Helene that we just got in October that says exactly what he would be required to do. So he's already taken that step to do the septic part of it.
Okay. So if there's questions on the water, the applicant's best path is to get that approved before he builds. Nobody has to do, right?
Okay. The water has nothing to do with that. I mean, I don't look at a well. This is a personal, private. That's between them and their neighbors to deal with that issue. I guess we've never really looked at that before. So if you need to, you can make a condition of the development plan.
I just want to make sure that he doesn't get himself in a pickle as much as anything. If he doesn't have the sewer and doesn't have the water and can't do the fire suppression, why would you do the investment? So it's just FYI, I think.
Yeah, so I think with this one, the only extension, the parking isn't changing. That's what's there now. I just asked for it to be delineated because right now there's not, there's not like a parking stop or anything. So I asked for it to be delineated. That's what he's doing on here.
Yeah, he's got plenty of parking.
Okay, what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'll move to approve of the plan.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
He could.
Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Bruce, do we have some kind of update from the sheriff?
Okay, Adam, so it's been approved. We can deal with it, for the building permit part now. And I think you heard just the question on maybe the water, check the water.
yeah, I'm gonna look into that right away because I that was something that didn't cross my mind. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
And thank you guys very much for letting us move forward.
Yep. Thank you.
So I understand.
Okay, have a good day. Hey, you guys, drive safe. It's nasty.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
I think it is closed. From Chamberlain to Rapid, I think the sheriff just said it's a rumor that is closed in our neck of the woods, the interstate. But I've sent the email out. People are leaving. I guess it's probably just a matter of time before it gets here, right? So
Did you come from Rosette?
I come from Rosette.
How's that?
Signs said that they were closing the interstate west of or east of Rapid at 9.
Okay. How were the roads?
They were good till about
Sunday?
Spearfish.
Yeah.
Really?
About right where it.
Well, Sherry went over this morning
there
and
was-
she said that they got better once she got past Sundance.
Oh, yeah, they're dry.
Okay.
One lane dry almost to Spearfish.
So did you come over to watch us deny this? Is that what
I
you
did.
Okay.
No,
right,
All right, Amber.
Better have some
Class.
representation. That was it.
We got a layout plan here for Duffy Croft and Stacy Sanders.
Yep. So this one, I don't think Duffy's coming. I'm betting she's not going to drive into town. And I don't think Mike Jordan will. But what this is just, I had one thing on it. So this is, I don't know if any of you knew Jerry Croft, Croft Saddlery, which was just outside of town here for years. This is Duffy's land still, and she is out there basically on her own now. And she is needing to sell a little bit of it. She would like to keep, so this is just a layout. So what they would like to do is this portion here, she wants to keep. That's where all her barns and house and everything is at. And then this is an old lot that was created, I didn't even look. It's been out there a long time. And as Duffy was looking at platting, Mike Jordan had found that the existing fence that went around this other older house up here did not He didn't own it, or the lady didn't own it. She thought she owned it, and so they decided, well, can we go ahead and take care of that while we're doing this replat? So this lot line around this house changes, and the reason why it looks like it does is they made it follow the fence that she already had in. So it kind of fixes that issue. And then this upper lot is where they would like to be able to subdivide off. She wants to keep it as a large lot. This is an open drainage way and floodplain in there, so that they know the house will be built over on this side is where it's going to have to be, probably just because of the floodplain. Not really floodplain, it's drainage. And then all of her existing structures would remain down here. So she did go ahead and plat, we'll call it the remainder. So that's what she's proposing to do. Is this is a lot line change. So even though it looks like a new lot, it's already an existing lot. They're just changing the fence line. This is a new lot on the top, and then the bottom will remain hers. This road, from what I can tell, and I was hoping Alan would maybe still be here, it is, so county maintains it basically kind of up into right in here somewhere. Goes all the way down there and then comes back out. And then this is an easement that was already existing, but she decided they couldn't really, it was sort of just a meandering kind of driveway thing on the old plat. It wasn't an actual showing a length or a distance of the easement. So they did opt to go ahead and keep that easement on her property because that's how this lady gets to hers. And then that will also keep where easement goes to this other lot. So it'll come off of here. So that was one thing that this does kind of help, because that was just an old kind of a dead end driveway before, and there wasn't really good access dedicated. So they did dedicate it. The question that come about is she did do the fire plan early. This portion, really nothing needs to be done because it's kind of just an open HES pasture. The house up here, nothing needs to be done. This one, there will need to be some stuff, but it's kind of going to depend on where they put the house to determine what needs to be done, because this is open in the middle. There's not much there. So she is just requesting, and it says it in the fire plan, that she not have to do the work, but the person that buys it will have to maybe do something, but it depends on where they put the house. They may not have to do anything.
Commissioner Diver.
Well, the existing lot would be exempt because it'd be a lot line revision.
Yep.
In the new lot, you're proposing that before they get a occupancy permit,
if they have to, because it'll depend on where they put the house.
So Logan would write you a report.
Yes. Yep.
And that would be before they got occupancy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that would be the plan to submit with the preliminary and final.
Correct. Yeah, because we already have the full fire plan for the whole thing.
Right.
So.
And then the access, they're just reaffirming that, and is it private? I can't read it.
It is private, yes.
And does it also service that lot down by the elbow there?
Yeah, well, they didn't dedicate that because that's one of those that it's just sort of there because they don't own this lot. So you can see where it doesn't start to get dedicated
until it enters their property exit. So. Yeah,
it doesn't get dedicated here. It just says center line of road, because I asked Mike and he can't find any, like there's no dedication anywhere.
But they're dedicated
all private. Maintains it.
It's all private.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yes.
Is lot 2R an existing lot of record?
Yes, it is. Okay. Well, lot 2 is. 2R is going to be the new one because they're moving the lot line to match the fence line.
Is it getting bigger?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Just a tad, not a lot, but it is getting a little bit bigger.
That my concern is 2 acre minimum on new lots. This is an existing lot that we're making a slight bit larger. I'm fine with that then.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I think on preliminary and final plat, they ought to show a detail on the old lot lines, so we can record that we have a snapshot that is that way.
They did actually. I've already seen it, but I
yeah, because equalization will want to know that acreage changed too, so they should show the old lot lines where they could.
Well, and you actually can see them.
Well, there it is.
It's just hard on this.
All right, I see them now. Okay.
Yeah. I could see it when I was looking, but I also didn't zoom in that close.
Maybe
so
later.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
final.
What's your pleasure?
Mainly, I think her concern was that she didn't want to go to a preliminary plat without knowing you would be comfortable with what she's requesting with the fire plan. Was her, before she goes much further. And I said that would be your guys'
Did
call.
planning and zoning?
They recommended approval of it. They didn't have a concern.
Well, I would move to follow their recommendation, noting that the fire plan discussion will be approved at the final plat process.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye. Opposed? Motion approved. I want to move, I want to skip this next one real quick, Amber. This gentleman's here for the Kissick Oil and Water, and so we can get him on his way.
I believe Al Schreier's on his way. You want to wait for him, or what do you want to do?
Probably.
Yeah,
All right.
'cause
I
he
didn't get
called.
any background or anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
All
I
the
guess he
rest
called
of
the
them
office.
tied up.
All right, well, we'll
So
do this.
I
Yeah,
don't
do
believe he's
Bussy
right
right
now.
now.
So.
Trying to
I
help you out,
appreciate
buddy.
it.
Yep. Okay, so and Brandon, this is going to be one you probably recognize. So Mick Bussy is the son. Don Bussy was the dad, and he has passed away. And this actually came before you guys quite a few years, maybe not, well, not this commission, but the commission. And they had tried to subdivide this quite a while ago, and I have the minutes in here. And it was at that time they were told that they had a condition, and these were the conditions that were in the original that I could find. And basically, I don't quite understand it, but it was allowed as a conditional use permit as there's two residences on one lot, and one Don lived in and one his son lived in.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's the original. And so it was allowed by the commission, and then they tried to do a change of zoning at the time quite a while ago because Don knew that he needed to try to deal with it before he passed away. And he was told at that time, no, you need to, in order to make it work, you need to buy more property so you can actually meet the lot size requirements of the two lots. So sometime here, Mick and Don did get that done. They purchased the land, and the plat that he submitted to you was actually the newest version. And then he just kind of showed you what he was doing. But they purchased some additional acreage, which is not usable. It's up on top of the hill right behind them. It's all trees. But it got them to the acreage requirement. Yep, it's the little triangle up here. They purchased this land here from the neighbor. And that put them where they have enough acreage to subdivide it. And then he's kind of showing he'd like to just kind of maybe draw that line right in here. And his dad's house will sit on one, and then he will keep the rest with his house. It'll be at least a 2-acre parcel is the intention, but he has to, obviously the surveyor will have to kind of draw it out and figure out. They have a shared driveway, so he'll have to dedicate the driveway. But he's just at the point now that his dad is gone that he'd like to try to fix the problem, because right now he owns both houses and he can't do anything with the other one.
So the vicinity map infers that this area is included. It's not.
Well, at the time, you have to remember this is an old plat.
2020.
Right. So they did a lot line change. So both parcels were replatted at that time. So it was at the time.
How many total acres will he have now?
Well, it's just, I can't read it underneath. It's 11.298. This is the plat that's been approved and recorded.
So 11.23.
Yeah, whatever that says behind there. Yep.
2.4 around it. So he's going to create, he has now the 10-acre minimum.
Yep. So he can create two lots. One will be closer to 2, and one will be the rest of it.
I see the septic crosses that line. So
yeah, they'll have to have an easement or something
jog
in
the
there,
line.
or move the line. He just wanted to give you kind of a general of this is what his thought process was, is he'll keep one, dad's house will be on the other one, and then he'll be able to do something with that. So I think he's done everything over the years that was kind of requested of him, but it just took some time to get there.
What was the recommendation of planning?
They recommended approval. And I don't think there was much concern.
Move to follow their recommendation, approve the layout plan with the note that normal procedure will be followed for the preliminary and final.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Well, so I don't know if you just wanna, I can attempt to do what we need to. I don't know where he's at. He called
Well-
Jeff like forever ago, so.
Planning and zoning didn't have any issues with this next one, and I think I'm the one that made the motion for approval. They basically have done what we asked. So do you want to go on with it?
Sure.
Okay, I guess if we get backed into a corner here, we can wait for Al.
Okay.
Commissioner Divers.
Well, so by approving the layout plat, are we then approving the exception, which would be the escape route? So that's really what this is all about.
Right. I guess that's the way I put it.
I would say yes, if you approve this layout plan, then
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna expect to see with the preliminary plat. Cause that's what they're asking for, is they don't wanna go and do all the drawings and all the stuff if you guys don't like this layout. So I would.
So is there any other exceptions besides the escape route?
I asked Mr. Schreier to submit, remember at the last meeting, I asked him for an exception letter, so I knew what exactly he was requesting, and I have not received that. So I'm assuming maybe that's what he was coming up, I don't know.
Where does he live?
Belfouche,
Is it Val?
so I don't know if he got turned around, have you talked to him and called back,
I
have
haven't
you?
heard anything since.
Well,
So I can't answer that.
I think that if we do approve this today, that it would be that we're only approving that exception.
Val is asking for the layout plan to be approved.
Right.
And when they talked about it last time, it was a big loop that came around there, and that essentially went in and out close to each other there. Now they're going out at the other end too, so it's along the road.
They came up with an escape route and shortened up the cul-de-sac, so, because before the cul-de-sac was like 3,000 feet long, and
Yeah.
and now it's down, I think 800 or less. And then they've got another way out.
Okay, so where's this other way out from the cul-de-sac? Can you show me that?
I'm not real comfortable with it, without Al being here, cause this is Pittman Lane right here, so Pittman Lane's on the bottom, highway's out here.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come down Pittman Lane. How I understand it is they're gonna come up this way.
Yep.
And make the loop back around.
And that's the narrow road.
This is the
That's
where it's gonna be less
16 or
wide,
18 foot wide.
and it's gonna come back around. And then this one they left in there as a 66-foot public access and utility, but it only goes to this, so, maybe later on, I don't know. Could they in theory drive across this open pasture? Probably, if there was an emergency or whatever, and then there's this one here that does the same thing, it goes over here. And then, hold on,
Crazy fingers.
I know.
I'm trying to find that cul-de-sac length on the end is what I'm after.
Looks like towards the top.
I've got all of your, John and Amber and Tim for your executive sessions are ready, they're on standby. If you get ahead of schedule here before your.
Okay, so
So
the cul-de-sac
right
is there.
here,
All right.
70 and 55 is what it looks like. That's an easement, so that would meet the requirement.
What's the access to
don't-
that upper lot, to your upper right?
This one here, they're just doing
upper right, my right,
this way,
up.
this way.
up to the top of the sheet, right there.
I don't think they own that land. Let me look. I don't see. Oh, up here.
Yeah.
So it goes off the end of the cul-de-sac, comes up this way. There's a 40-foot private access easement
Okay,
going up.
don't
and
we have a
around.
limit on driveway lengths?
Yeah.
Well, not on driveways, not if it's a private driveway.
I thought we had a limit.
Discussion, yeah.
I thought we had a limit on lengths.
I think as long as it's not accessing more than 3 lots, this is only 2.
Still thought we had a length limit on
I think it says that if it gets over 3, yes.
Yeah.
But I think
what
that's
triggers it,
why,
doesn't it?
that's why he did the big cul-de-sac here,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that'll be this access, and then you have 2 lots with a long driveway.
And then what's the plan for water and sewer?
The same as what they presented before. I
Which
haven't
is-
seen any changes.
Which was wells?
Drill a big well.
Jill, you're doing a shared well though, right? It wasn't an individual. They were gonna do one shared well system for all the lots, is what I remember.
Okay, so they'll have to have a water design, and they're waiting to do that till this is approved.
Yeah, I think they kind of put a stop because there'd been so much of not knowing if you guys liked the layout that they kind of stopped on everything else. So
Well,
we
I would
have to
move,
have
I would
that.
move to approve the alternate access on the layout plan.
So with this lessened 40
Yep.
foot versus 66 on
Yeah.
the backside.
And my motion would be that they have to meet all the other regulations of the planning process.
So water, sewer.
Yeah.
Which you have to.
That's really what you're after here, isn't it, Guy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have
Yeah,
a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
So I
further
just have-
discussion.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
question. Since we don't, the only thing I would add is could you request, I think they did it at planning and zoning too, the motion was that he still needed to provide the actual exception, like
Yes, yeah.
letter, so we knew specifically that it was that 40 foot that was less.
Clarification on the motion is the layout. I approve the layout, move to approve the layout plan with the alternate escape route, and follow all of the other regulations of the ordinance and list the exceptions during the plating process. Okay?
Is that your second, Rick?
Yeah, that would be all
Yeah,
right.
just a little more detail in it. Yeah.
You wanna ask
Yeah.
Alan?
So Alan, they've already gone through it, so they are okay with that narrow 40 foot coming out the other side.
Right.
And then they had a question on the upper part.
Mr. Chairman, I'd call a question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
On the upper part coming off, you have the long driveway, which we had discussed, that the long driveway to the 2 lots.
Yep.
And then there was a question on water, just a reminder, we thought you were just doing a shared well system between all the lots, is that correct?
That is
The intent?
They're gonna be, I would say more of a central one.
Yeah,
There'll be
it's
a
got
water supply system run by the Kissiks or that
Okay.
group would be,
And then individual septic systems.
yes.
Is
Commissioner
there
Tyler?
anything else?
Basically, the synopsis of the motion that was approved is we approved the narrow road going out, and you have to follow all the rest of the procedures. It's in a nutshell what happened.
I think once we get that, we can move forward with the stuff.
Do the design.
Like, then we can get this whole thing worked out.
Yep.
But we'll have the detail stuff.
And then Alan, we're still missing the exception letter that I had asked at the last one.
And that was a
So I
caveat
still
on the
need that.
motion that's part of the process too.
Okay.
So there you go. Now you get to drive home in the
Yeah.
mess.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Al, was the interstate open?
Yeah, there's about every 5 miles, there's a highway patrol or sheriff on the road
Yeah.
watching traffic, so. and snowplows.
They knew you were coming.
Snowplows, that's right. Snowplows are moving now too. That's what's getting got my traffic and snowplows, so. But you gotta be safe.
Okay, Guy, go home. Don't get a fast driving award.
I won't get a fast driving
Or the hell, I might get a room.
There you go.
Drive safe.
Spend some money. We can use the tax dollars.
So the only plat that we had come forward from planning and zoning is the amended preliminary for Auburn Acres, Better House Pass. And this is the one that they've tried a couple times, but they didn't have the bonding. They didn't have all that stuff. Well, you guys did all that finally. So we're finally caught up with the development agreement, the bonding. This is all included in there. You did approve one preliminary, and we're trying really hard to make sure that we're not getting piecemealed amended preliminaries. Does that make sense? So I requested them to redo the entire, so it shows everything. They ended up kind of configuring some stuff. This lot 1, if you remember, this is the one that they tried bringing in separately, which was going to be where they were going to possibly put some little storage units. And so they reconfigured it, put it all into one big amended preliminary, so I don't have multiple pieces.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Diver.
So we have road plans, water plans, sewer plans, everything, and they're just replacing, completely replacing the old plat.
They are. They're still calling it amended because there was some
That's all right.
pieces, but then they added some other pieces, and instead of having one and then two
Yep, I
and then
agree.
three.
Usually we just see what's amended, but they're just basically replacing.
Yep.
Okay. And planning and zoning was fine with this?
They recommended approval of it, yes.
Move to follow the recommendation and approve the preliminary plat.
Okay, motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sign this one real quick.
Can we take 5, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
You guys
For
gonna
our
review your
meetings?
personnel up front?
Yeah, might as well get that executive session out of the way when we come back.
We're gonna use this, right?
Yes, please.
You're my right.
Well, Mr. Alka, do you want me to call in for executive session or you call me?
He stepped out again, Bruce.
Brandon, you can take a 5-minute break.
You went to go chase down.
Sure.
Take a
I'm just-
5-minute
executive session, if he wants to just call me, I can listen in instead of, then we can shut off the
Okay,
camera.
I'll let him know. And then this one is one that we had to send off for signature, so you guys approved it in November, but we didn't have it.
Okay.
Hurry, fast.
Chairman?
Yes.
Nice. I'll have to go eat that because I didn't get breakfast.
Jeff, will you see if you can catch auditor's office to see if they'll sign these real quick for me? Just have their both of them, they're just notarizing box signature. And then you can't leave because I don't have a key.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
That's exactly why I'm here.
Greg texted me, he goes, do you have your key with you in the commissioner's room? I said, no, but Bruce can let me in too, because Bruce has keys to our door. Nope, I don't.
No,
It's upstairs.
Yeah. Bad day to have it upstairs.
I'm horrible. I don't like to wear it like around my neck or what, you know, and
Yeah.
it's always in my purse,
Yeah.
but that doesn't really help when you lock the doors.
I hate to wear it
But-
around your neck too.
Yeah. Bruce has his all the time though, and he can get into
Yeah.
ours. So I was like, there's somebody still here that can
Yeah.
get in. It's okay.
That sound all right to you on acoustics there?
I don't- No, it's fine. My biggest thing is I've asked Al for those exceptions 3 times now.
Oh.
And so that's why I didn't want it to, 'cause, I mean, it's not that difficult to submit a letter telling me.
Well, his plans are really, really hard.
Oh, it's hard.
What do you do, right? So-
30 degrees and I sleep on. Other than that, I think like that.
Well, I just reminded them out there about the water system requiring 1,000, 1,200 gallons a minute. And he was explaining it to you guys. That's the part of the ordinance we need to look at is when do we require water systems? And that's part of our new process.
Everything should be in place. I would think.
Well, you know, if you had 5 lots that were big, you had individual wells, where do you break that to, hey, we need to put a water system in? I don't know where that break point is.
I'm going to call it.
Okay, he said to just have you.
When you get to a certain size, if you're going under 5 acres, not even the average of one lot.
So what do I have to state?
I don't know,
No, I think you
but
will.
it's,
I don't have to.
the ordinance is kind of vague. I mean, that one over there, they want to put group wells, like 4 wells in. That's, you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I didn't.
So everybody, well, I'll leave it on for now. I think the commissioners are probably going to go into executive session here in a little bit, so I will be muting it then if that's indeed what they decide to do.
You want me to shut the door?
Hi, John.
They're
Looking
not-
sharp.
Not yet.
May not get home, but you're looking sharp.
That's true. I brought a big truck.
You got the big
And Brandon, I'll be
one.
calling you.
Thanks, Bruce.
So it's executive session next thing on the list.
Well, you're taking it out of order.
Public hearings are next, and they're 9:45, 10,
Oh,
10:15.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll have anybody here for them, so we're a little late
I'm
starting.
here.
Wait, besides, of course, I stand corrected.
She's an offensive party.
Oh, yeah, oh, no.
How are you?
You better be nicer.
I am nice. I'm
All right,
very
Bruce, what do you want us to do next?
Doesn't sound very good.
So, Mr. Chairman, next on your agenda is an executive session, and there's a number of different matters to discuss. And of course, you won't take any action during executive session. But I'd be looking for a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
So move. Second then.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
With that said, Mr. Chairman, there are three different people to discuss. There's John Fitzgerald, state's attorney. There's Amber Ritchie from the Public Defender's Office, and Tim, the Director of Equalization.
Let's start with John, if we could, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Can you leave, Tim? John, you stay?
out of here.
Do you want me to leave?
No, you-
So I'm going to be muting the meeting all folks, and I'll be
I did not, I just realized, so
So I think if everybody's listening, Brandon, I'm gonna hang up now. Commission is back out of executive session. No action was taken. I think we're live.
Want to hit your camera there, bud?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you. There you are.
Brandon, just to double check if I may, you couldn't, I had it muted. You couldn't hear anything during the executive session, right?
Correct. Not through the go-to.
Okay, we'll check the recording too. Thank you.
I guess, go ahead and advertise for position, and what do we say? Think
Move
our
it.
thoughts are to go to, advertise it for 30 days.
Okay. And if I may, I mean, I think that that's a good plan. It will be interesting to see if we get any responses. And as I've mentioned before, just the lack of attorneys locally. I mean, the judges are bringing up attorneys from Rapid just to cover the current conflicts. But I'm happy to do that and report back where we're at in a month.
Okay, Randy?
With the workload that you have now, can you, I don't know the process, but if you have a case that's already started and you don't have the staff, can they appoint to that, to fill that?
They can, and as of last week, we're no longer taking cases unless we currently represent an individual.
Okay.
So if we have current cases going on right now with somebody that gets arrested in the meantime, we will be taking that. I did just withdraw on one this morning because it's just brand new. That I know is going to be a complex case, and we just don't have the staffing right now for that reason. I don't anticipate that we're going to do that much with the cases we have right now, just because I'm going to try not to. I met with Mr. Fitzgerald this morning, Ms. Harvey yesterday, and I think we're pretty close to some resolutions on some cases. So I'm going to try and get some stuff wrapped up without obviously throwing my clients under the bus. Make sure that it's appropriate for them to accept those types of offers and discuss that fully with them. But I'm hopeful that between Mr. Bryson and I, we can get some movement on some cases and get it to a point in a month or two where we can start taking cases again of some sort. But I will advertise for a month, and then I will report back to the commission on where we're at. Okay, terrific.
Just to be fair, maybe we should advertise for the 15th of January. 15th of January would be a good day.
Is this a motion?
No, she's just giving her the
direction.
Okay.
If I may, the only reason I would suggest this is if possible, the state bar newsletter won't come out to the beginning of the year because it only comes out at the beginning of each month.
Should we give it 20th? 20th be enough?
At least it would give me some, and I would put until the 20th. Resumes are due by then. That would at least give me a little bit more time.
Okay, 20th is fine with me.
Friday.
Because we have a meeting that fall.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Same to you.
So we can get done with we got a public hearings.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the personnel request form for Tim Hodson for a full-time temporary position until we fill the director of equalization, until we fill that position.
At the rate stated?
At the rate stated in the application. I'll second.
Okay, then motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I would also approve Brenda Harvey as appointed as state's attorney effective January 3rd for a base pay of $37.65.31 with a review in 6 months. And there's a statute that goes along with that.
Yes, 343.
Thank you.
She'd be filling the remaining 2 years of Mr. Fitzgerald's
Remaining 2
term.
years. Thank you. Add that in the motion if you would, please.
If Jackie's listening, we'll be interested in that.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 9:45 a.m. public hearing, Brenda. We're a little behind.
Mr. Chairman, this is the time and the place set for a resolution to adopt a supplemental budget of $25,000 for EM, consisting of $18,000 for salary and I think $7,000 for equipment. and also $3,900 in Title III expenditures. I was covering for this.
And I will add to that, just the reason for the supplement for emergency management is we hired Ms. Baker to fill in with Renee to train, and then also the payout of Renee's vacation and sick leave. And then the equipment is due to Paul had to purchase a new laptop because it was not 3G compatible, so it was just causing a bunch of issues, and so that was not budgeted, and so that's why that is being asked to supplement. And then the Title III is for Rob Maddox to do the final Lawrence County CWPPPS. Too many P's. Update.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the body of the audience that would like to speak for or against, please stand, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and offer it to the board.
Yes, I was wondering if any of these are supplemented by the state. There's one.
I don't think so.
You get about half of your pay.
Well, yes. The wages for Barb while Renee was here is not. Only Renee's is. We get half of Renee's. When Barb took over and Renee left, then hers becomes half eligible.
Thank you.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve in a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'm sorry, who moved and seconded that?
I moved, he seconded.
That's what I thought. I just want to make sure it was like we had a
Bring forward.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, maybe while you wait for your next public hearing, well, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It is 10.
Yeah.
We're
We're not waiting, buddy.
Good. I was gonna say, go back to the public. You're there.
okay. Brenda, are you gonna handle this one, Brenda?
Actually, I'm going to ask Bruce if he would introduce the next one,
Okay.
just due to the fact that it's mine.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, so consideration for 2 public hearings now back to back, they're sort of related, so I'll kind of introduce them together. Resolution 2231 is vacation of a portion of the section line as indicated on the agenda. And then also Resolution 2022-32, which is also a vacation of a section line. And this is the subdivision, I think, is at Paradise Acres, and then also that subdivision off of the Tetro Rock Road. And although there are 2 separate petitions, part of the section line to be vacated are actually abutting each other. And so in large part, they're kind of the same. And so with that, I would defer to any questions.
Do we want to have the public hearing on the one first?
Yes, you need to.
Lot 1 of Skyline subdivision
Yes,
first.
please.
Okay. I won't go through the horse and pony show because there's no one in the audience. We will close the public hearing. Leave it. It's up to the board now.
I was gonna ask, you said each one, so there's a house on 3 and yours is considered on 1, is that, so somebody lives over here too?
That's good.
Thank you.
And on these types of things, people need to also keep in mind that section lines can be closed, but they can also be reopened in the future, whereas an easement can be permanently closed, but section lines they can come up again in the future.
Point of clarification, I believe we'd have to purchase the property in this instance. If we actually formally vacate it, it's no longer there. We can condemn it and have to reimburse them to reopen it.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, if council agrees with that or not.
You're correct.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
one of the considerations is that we have access to public land, and I think Morning Star Road and Tetro Rock Road allow that. So that being said, I would move to approve the section vacation resolution 2022-31.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, did you second it, Richard?
No, Brandon did.
Oh, okay, excuse me. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen, for not making me move my.
And similarly, Mr. Chairman, as we referenced before, Resolution 2022-31 is before you as well.
Okay, as I stated earlier, there is no one in the public, so we'll close the public hearing and offer it to the board.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
I'm a little confused. If you go to the last sheet 5 of 5 and you look down on track K of Paradise Acres number 2, where does the vacation end? There's no dimension, no property line. It's right here, folks.
Right here. This one.
Where does that end? So I go to the detail of that area, which is sheet 4, and there is no apparent end. So how do we know what we're vacating? Whereas the other ones appear to be vacated at the property line of the mineral surveys. So I don't know how we approve this since we don't know what we're approving.
I know I can't answer that. I can try to get Lauren on the phone.
Well, just considering the day, even though this is a public hearing, do we have to have action on this today?
You don't. No.
Okay, so we could continue this to our next meeting and ask for that clarification.
You can.
And if it doesn't change the petition, we could move forward at that time.
I think so, yes.
That would be my motion.
Okay, we have a motion
Second, Divert.
and a second to
Continue this.
continue this item.
To December.
Any further discussion?
And one comment. If we could have the Director of Equalization look at it and see if they can figure it out. But to me, it's not clear.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're cleaned up here.
So you have items from the public remaining, items from commissioners?
We have no public. Is there items from the commissioners?
I guess I'd like to give an update if I could. From the Natural Resource Committee perspective on the forest plan revision, you each got a copy of the letter from Governor Gordon and Governor Noem asking to revisit the assessments. And you also got a copy of a letter for Governor Thune, or excuse me, Senator Thune, Senator Rounds, Senator Barrasso, and Senator, what's the other senator in Wyoming?
I got it.
Is it Driscoll?
No, that's state senator. These are congressionals asking for the same thing. There was also a letter from the Retailers Association of South Dakota for that, and a letter from the Municipal League asking them to reconsider. So those letters have all been submitted. And if you, even though in the governor's budget address, there was no conversation about the forest plan revision in her budget, there's a special appropriations request of $950,000 for the forest plan revision. And I sent out the guidelines from the Secretary of Agriculture and Natural Resources on how that money would be spent. The guidelines talk about his department adding 1 FTE, which I think is great, because then Marcus Winke, the state forester, can work full time on this, and they can backfill with a new employee. That's $450,000 for 4-year position. The other $500,000 will be set up in a grant program for the counties affected for a $1 match with a limit per, I think there's $250,000 limit for each county. So that will be coming to the legislature for approval because it's a special, but it is in her budget. So that's all good news. The conversations that I've had indicate that if that's not enough, we can certainly have discussions on what we need.
Okay, well, good.
So a lot of ground made there. Now it's up to the forest supervisor to respond.
Okay, thank you.
This was a
Anything
letter
else?
to Tomac that you were
You
talking
have
about.
anything to add, Brandon?
I do not, other than everybody needs to drive safe.
Thanks,
Okay, buddy,
Brandon.
thanks. Richard?
No. One last thing. With this list, I know there's a couple people interested in some positions, so just heads up.
Okay.
Maybe next meeting we could go through that. Okay. That's on the appointments, Brandon.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I saw that list in my, the online in the drive.
All right, if there's no further business, we can adjourn.
We are adjourned.
10:30, 10:13.
Thank
Thanks,
you, gentlemen.
Brandon.
Thanks, everyone. Drive safe.
Well, I gotta go to the sandbox, then I'll return and get my stuff.
All right, you guys drive careful.
So you click that on. That leave, just hit leave. There you go.